We're going to go back to the NFL and the hot story of the day. And that, of course, is Sean Payton going to the Denver Broncos as their new head coach. And Rob, how do you think this kind of affects the things in the AFC West? We thought, not just us, everybody thought going into this season that this was going to be not only the best division, Rob, in football this year, but people were saying one of the best of all time. You felt like you got,
did that flop.
Flop. I mean, you had a Super Bowl winning guy who was en route to the Hall of Fame. I don't know if that's the case now, but Russell Wilson in Denver. You had, of course, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, who have lived up to their billing. The Raiders, Rob, were expected to do something. And then the Chargers,
they made the playoffs without Devontae. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
you think, you add him, we definitely in. So didn't pan out. But what do you think Peyton will do in Denver, kind of to change things in that division this year?
I'm with Las Vegas.
Season, I should say.
The line didn't move on the Denver. I don't think much moves, not at least until we really see, because Chris, you could say you got Sean Payton, and you could say that, he's going to fix Russell Wilson. Maybe he can't be fixed. Like we don't know that. And that's the scary part, even if you invest in that. Because I don't care how good of a coach Sean Payton is. If you're getting that kind of quarterback play or subpar quarterback play, Chris, it's going to be hard to win.
No.
He had Drew Brees, one of the greats. You won't be able to win. And he won the one time, and that was how many years ago was that? 10? What was that? 2000?
It was more recent than Peyton
7. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Peyton won in 09, and Wilson won, I think, in 11 or 12.
Yeah, it's just a long time ago, and that's the scary part is we don't know. We looking at him, Chris. Last year, people were wondering, is he washed? That was a legit question. That wasn't an overreaction. That wasn't a, prisoner of the moment because he had one bad game or something. That was, as you watched him, the struggle to throw the ball, the struggle to make plays. It was incredible, to be honest.
No, he was if someone had said to you he's going to be that bad, there is absolutely no way even the biggest Russell Wilson haters, Rob, would have believed it.
And Chris, let me just give you some numbers. Can I give you numbers on how bad it was? Easily his worst season of his career. Had his lowest completion percentage, 60.5, right? 60.5. Lowest touchdown percentage, Chris, 3.3. Second highest interception percentage, 2.3. Lowest air yards per attempt, 6.9. Lowest passer rating, 84.4. Lowest QBR, 37.0. Highest sacks taken, 55. And that was a problem in Seattle, taking the sacks.
He's always taking a lot
He's always, because he's held on to the ball trying to make a play.
Right.
And he's been caught with that. And his lowest win total, they only won 4 games. I mean, it was bad. And Hackett was bad, Chris. But he was close to as bad as Hackett was as a coach, as Wilson was as a quarterback.
Yeah, he showed, some flashes late in the season, Rob. His last 4 games, he had 10 touchdowns. He still has 6 interceptions, but he did have 10 and 7 turnovers, one a fumble lost. But he did have 10 touchdowns. Rob, he only had 16 touchdowns for the year.
That's
10
crazy.
of them came in the last 4 games.
That's
so
crazy.
He played better, and 2 of those games were against the Chiefs, who they played tough. And then they were blasted by the Raiders. We saw that one where he had 3 interceptions. I'm sorry, the Rams. And then the Chargers, they lost, or they beat the Chargers at the end of the season. He had 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. So, he showed some signs, right? At least toward the end of the season. Sean Payton, the thing is this, Rob. We know that he, worked wonders with Drew Brees. And that's why, everybody thinks he can go and fix a quarterback, in this case, Wilson. But Rob, he also, did a good job with Jameis Winston. Remember, Jameis Winston, of course, in Tampa Bay had the 30 interceptions the year before Tom Brady got there. He sits behind Breeze in 2020. Then in 2021, he's the starter, Rob. And they start out 5-2 when he's playing the first 7 games. Now, remember, that's when he wasn't throwing the ball a lot. Remember that? They weren't throwing a lot. But he did have Winston's erratic, passing under control. In those 7 games, Rob, Jameis Winston had 14 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. So, that's a sign that maybe he can, he fixed Jameis Winston to some degree. And obviously he's got some stuff to work through with Russ. I'll say this, though, Rob. Russell Wilson should be humbled. Because remember all the talk about in Seattle, let Russ cook, and he felt they were just too much of a run offense.
They were holding him back.
And I guess he had reason to feel, cocky and confident that he could do his stuff. He had been a 9-time Pro Bowler and reached the Super Bowl twice, won a Super Bowl and all that. But after this year, Rob, he should be putty in the hands of Sean Payton. He should be like, look, coach, whatever you think we need to do, whatever you think is going to help me be the best quarterback I can be, I'm all for it. And I'm sure, Rob, even though Sean Payton has this stuff he likes to do, of course, with quarterbacks, he's got to look. I'm sure he's smart enough to say, okay, Russell can do this, and these are the things we're going to do with him, and he can't do this. And these are the things we'll avoid. And, Rob, you already have a top 10 defense. You've got, it's not one of the best receiving cores in the league by any stretch, but it's a decent receiving core. And Javonte Williams will be back as a running back. So, Rob, we talked about it. The team isn't that bad. Russ was just horrific. And so if he can I don't know if he can get him back to Seattle Russ, but if he can get him like 90% of that guy, Rob, then I think they could be in business. I don't think they're not a contender to win that conference. I mean, they're not even going to win that division because obviously Kansas City is great. And they might not be as good as the Chargers because I think Kellen Moore is going to be good with Justin Herbert. But they should be in playoff contention if things go right with Peyton.
Yeah. I mean, you would think so on paper, but you just don't know. And you don't know how damaged Russell Wilson is. You really don't. And Sean Payton, I mean, there weren't that many landing spots. He wanted to get back into coaching. It wasn't like he had his choice of a younger, more, you know what I mean? Like if he had a choice, Chris, of Justin Herbert or Russell Wilson.
To me, that was the optimum job for him.
Yeah, that's the job you want, where you're going to be there for years and you got a potential star quarterback as far as for years to come and all this other stuff. And now you got a guy where I got to take a look at him and see what's going on here, and hope that it's not the end of the road and that you're stuck with him for 3 more years or whatever it is.
Yeah. So we'll see, but it'll be interesting, Rob. We both agree he is Sean Payton. You might think he's more overrated than I do, but I do think he's a tad overrated. People are talking about him.
I think
like
he's a lot overrated. I do.
Wave a wand, and all of a sudden everything's going to be right. But he is a good coach, and so I think, Rob, with a desperate team like Denver, it was the right hire because he does have such a good track record with quarterbacks, and that's what they need fixed. So